Welcome, everyone, to our Crushing It in Aesthetics expert interview series. After founding and running one of the largest and most respected medical aesthetics training institutes in the country, we've noticed that the learning and growing doesn't stop at graduation. This Crushing It in Aesthetics expert interview series is specifically designed to cater to the needs of those starting an aesthetics practice, a med spa, as well as practice managers and providers. So, are you ready? We're about to go on a wild ride as we unpack the science behind crushing it in aesthetics and in life, one expert interview at a time. Welcome everybody to the Louology expert interviews, where we talk with experts in the business about the latest and greatest things happening to help you in your journeys. Today, we're going to talk about the wonderful world of equipment and devices and a hot new concept that is sweeping the nation. For those of you guys that don't know, I've been in the business for 20 years in the education space, worked with all kinds of cosmetic laser equipment manufacturers over the years. And there's so many amazing companies out there, and things come and go, and latest, greatest trends. So today I'm going to introduce you to a company called MedShift. Sean Shapiro is in the executive management. And Sean, I'm going to let you introduce a little bit about yourself and your background, because I think we met like 18 or 20 years ago, right?
That's right. That's right, Louis. When I was a young little 20-year-old rep prior to marriage and 3 kids, walked into your place and talked about first laser hair removal. I remember.
I think my first 2 devices 19 years ago was the Luminous Light Shear and the Palomar Starlux. And isn't that crazy?
Yep. That was us. That was us. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember. And I don't think you had a mustache back then.
I didn't have a mustache. I think I had hair, and I was probably about 40 pounds lighter.
Yeah, you kind of look more like Mel Gibson. What happened?
the life of a salesperson. But
okay, so you've been in the game for what, 20 years now?
Over 20 years now. Been in aesthetics. Started my career out with Luminous Laser Company early on. From there, I moved on to another startup at the time, which was Cool Sculpting, Zeltique. That was a nice little company that built into a juggernaut. And then from there,
for those of people that don't know, because obviously Cool Sculpt is owned by Allergan that paid $2 billion, but back then Zeltique wasn't Allergan. They were just like a startup new company, right?
That's right. They were the small guys on the block. Now they're Allergan's main device company. And then from there, I had an opportunity to work with a local Arizona company that also got bought by Merz called Althera. So the first skin tightening using microfocus ultrasound, and that got bought by Merz Aesthetics for roughly about $600 million.
And for these guys that don't know who Merz Aesthetics is, I believe that in Germany, and they do close to $1 billion a year, and they do the Xeomin injectable, which competes with Botox and Dysport, right? And a lot of technology as well, right?
Correct. Absolutely. So they have a full skincare line, great injectable line, fillers, competition to Botox, and so on and so forth. So worked with them for a while, and then got into another startup in women's health called Vivive. It was for vaginal rejuvenation, and that was a product that we launched. And then from there, I went to another startup called Soliton, which is a acoustic shockwave technology for tattoo removal and cellulite that got bought by Allergan for $600 million pre-revenue. So a lot of excitement there. And now I'm currently with MedShift out of Charlotte. It's a company based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The company works on 3 different things. One, and our main revenue driver, is our device financing. So we finance device through a specialty financing through a subscription program. We use our money to help the startup practices, to help the people that have been in practice maybe for a couple of years, that the banks are going to look at them very direct. They're going to look at them like, what is your credit score? Are you a physician? Are you a certain type of physician? And what's your debt to income ratio?
Got it.
Where we, as a specialty financer and in the aesthetic space, we really look at the person that's looking for a device holistically. And so what I mean by that, Louis, is we're looking at them from, can they afford the procedure? Does the ROI make sense that the rep is really telling them? We look at their following. How many people are they following? How many patients they currently have? And then we look at things like, realistically, can they afford the payment? Totally
different business model, because over the years, when you've been in the game of, marketing and selling lasers for the biggest companies in the world, basically, if I understand this correctly, because, we actually get lasers loaned to us by companies, we don't buy them, but everybody out there who's interested in buying a laser, They go with the big boy, whether it's a Luminous or Candela or Sciton or whoever, and they have to qualify first for laser credit score. They got to be able to have a decent credit score, decent income, and then they got to put down a chunk of money, a down payment. I guess depending upon the marketplace, the economy, and the manufacturer, who knows? It could be 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever the number is. Right? There's a chunk of money, and typically, would you say it's like a 5-year finance for somebody who buys an equipment, like back in the day before your company MedShift existed?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you're looking to buy a piece of equipment from any manufacturer out there, they're typically going to look at you and they're going to want a deposit anywhere from 10, 20, 30% of that purchase price. So let me give you simple math.
Okay.
A typical average piece of a good equipment is going to cost you about $100,000.
Okay.
So you're going to put $10,000 to $20,000 down, and then you're going to finance $80,000 to $90,000 through any type of financing that you can see. And then there's interest on that. And so what they're going to do is that $100,000 payment or that $100,000 piece of equipment might come to you in a $2,000 a month payment over 4 or 5 years, whatever the term you get. And so then you're operating your business based off, can I do X amount of procedures to make $2,000 or more?
So basically, now, if I'm hearing you right, $100,000 device, let's say interest rate is, let's say now the interest rate is 8%. So 8% of 100 grand is $8,000 a year times 5 years. It means almost $40,000. So a 100 grand device is really 140 grand to them, right?
You got it. You absolutely got it. With interest rates, you got to factor that in. So the reality is there is whatever the price the manufacturer is going to sell you that device, there's going to be interest, there's going to be tax, there's going to be shipping. And depending on what the company you're working with, there's going to be ongoing yearly warranty costs. So $100 could be over the life of a loan could be $150,000, $180,000.
Now you've been in this game for 20 years. You can answer this question better than me. So somebody buys an amazing laser from you, whatever the brand is. And after 5 years, it's still a great laser, but oh my gosh, it's not latest and greatest. There's something better out there. Plus, it's like a car. Cars don't work quite as good year 5 as year 1. And it's technology. And so historically in the past, what would clients do that had a laser 5 years ago? Would they kind of like upgrade and buy the latest and greatest and just kind of throw out that one or sell it used, or what would they do?
Great question. So there's a couple things that I would tell your group. Number one, you always want to work with a good, strong, existing manufacturer that's been around a while, because they're going to give you upgrade pathways. And usually they make them very incentive. So for example, let's say you get the latest greatest hair removal, and 3 years later, that hair removal has a bigger spot size, you can do it faster, and they're going to give you, because you're a customer, an easier pathway to get into the next thing. So yes, it's going to be more of an investment, but if you're successful in that business and you're growing your business and you need things faster and quicker, it's an easier pathway with a reputable
Is that kind of like if you buy a new car, if you buy a Mercedes, say the dealership, 5 years later, some cool electric car comes out, they'll give you a trade-in, and it's not going to make you rich, and they'll give you some money, but then you upgrade the next one, that kind of a concept? Or
100%. But remember, it's all about the business, right? So if you have, like, for example, if you're doing well with hair removal, let's say, and you're successful with that, those same patients might be saying, can you do something about my wrinkle here? Can you tighten up this spot here?
Right.
And the best advice I can give to the consumer is, if you start building up that patient base, then you make that ROI, because that procedure for the new device might be $1,000 and you have 25 patients that are interested. You can make that money back. You can make those payments and you can upgrade the device. So those are the key things you got to look at. But it's an expensive investment, and it, just like you said, like a car. The only thing difference between the car analogy and us, cars are depreciating assets. Equipment, if you're doing it right, make money.
When Jaguar first came out with their first really cool sports car, it's called the F-Type. I bought one 6 years ago. And there's two models. There's one for like 85 grand base model and one tricked out real fast for 120 grand. I bought the 85 grand model. So I've got it for 6 years. And I just looked yesterday. I'm just curious what the value is. I'm 6 years later. You ready for this, Chad? My 80 grand car is worth $25,000 on a trade-up. Like, shit, excuse my French, but shit. Like that. Okay, yeah, it's better than nothing. But so I guess if somebody buys from a laser manufacturer, conceptually, it's going to be that. That's what's going to happen, right?
The retail value on a device holds a little bit stronger than like a car, for example, in your example. So let's use the $100,000. You buy a $100,000 laser hair removal. 3 years later, it could be worth about 30 grand if you're selling it. The issue is you're going to have to find that wholesaler that wants to take 10 grand.
Oh, you mean they're going to take a commission? So let's say it's worth 20 grand, but all of a sudden you're only going to get 10 because they got to make some money.
A business approach that I can share with your audience is, you know, if they knew other people or network, like you have an incredible network there at NLI and Louology, that network, maybe somebody else wants to pick up that lease or transfer that ownership.
Now I'm starting to get why MedShift was created. But why don't you tell our audience, back in the day, before the founder created, what opportunity did he see? What value add proposition? I know your company's soaring and out of control and kicking butt, but you know, why was MedShift created initially? What was the concept? Yeah.
Thank you for asking. So MedShift, basically we've been around for 7 years. It's a great story. 7 years ago, the owner and the two co-owners, one worked in the business with a large manufacturer and sold devices. The other one had a lot of money from a technology side of it. They sat down and they started talking about the business, and the one of the co-owners said, "Hey, I have a lot of clients that are very successful, have a lot of patients, doing a lot of injectables, skincare, doing a lot of it and making money, but I can't get them financed." And this was in the mid 90s when the economy was at that time. And financing was very difficult. And so he said, "I know if I put this great device in their hands, they're going to be successful. They have great patient base, they can do it." So he said, "Well, why don't I buy the machines and then we'll put it in that practice and we'll do a revenue share. We'll do a pay-per-click model, right? Every time they use it, we'll take a little money off it."
Okay.
And that started the first revenue share pay-per-click model. What they learned from that was they learned that there's a tremendous amount of people that would love to get into the aesthetic device business and buy a device and be able to make great money on it, but they don't have the means or the capabilities through the current lending environment that's out there. So what we found is we're willing to take that risk. We're willing to do that risk, and then we'll bundle services around it, like marketing services, you know, Facebook ads, things to create awareness for them so that they make those payments and that they are successful. And so that's where it all started. And from that, we built into, not only do we finance the devices and we do this subscription model program to get into a device, we also spun off and create an e-commerce store where you can get anything aesthetics like Xeomin or Botox. We create GPO, so group purchasing organizations. So if you're a new injector and you really want to get the same discount that the big dermatologist gets down the street that's paying $100,000,
they can get it.
You can get it from us because you're a part of a group, purchasing group. So we created that. We also create services like bundling services like, okay, I want injection and I want the newest exosome or a skincare package together. So we create all this environment through our e-commerce at discount rates because we'll buy in bulk and pass it.
So if I understand correctly, then, you know, whether somebody doesn't want to pay a 20 grand down payment, or whether maybe they don't feel their credit is going to get them where they want to go, you're a financing solution. But even better than that, in my eyes, is that after 3 years with you, 5 years with you, they can just trade it in, get the latest and greatest without putting money down, without any money hassles at all. They can just say, get the latest and greatest, I'm good to go.
Yeah, you can come down, put no money down, get into a subscription program, start paying on the device, have that device, and you can get into all the other resources that we have, their group purchasing for injections and all that stuff. If they want to upgrade to a next device, we can roll them into something new.
So let's say I was going to do a deal with you today and I see this. Okay, I know the newest device in the marketplace. The newest one is like the TriLift from Luminous. It's like a facial, first FDA approval. And let's say, okay, it's an expensive device. It's whatever, 200 grand. I don't want to put down 40 grand. So if hypothetically you had to deal with something like that, I would come to you guys and I would just do like a 3 or 5 year deal, knowing that I can give it back to you after that. And if there's a better one out, latest, greatest, I'll go to the next one. And I'm just making a monthly payment, almost like a rent or lease of whatever the price is, 2 grand a month, whatever it is.
One, I'm glad that you said TriLift. We are a wholesaler of TriLift. So yes. So if you want to get in the latest, greatest and facial tightening, TriLift is a wonderful product. You can lease that. So we would set you up with let's say a 3 year payment, right? So the payment's a couple grand, but let's here you want to upgrade to something else, we roll you right into the next thing at that payment or a different payment, depending on the price. If you wanted to change that. So the only thing different than what you said is you're still obligated to make those payments.
Of course.
You have to do those, but you can always roll, change, upgrade at any point in time.
I love this concept because, I mean, I've had a million zillion lasers over the years, and I know from my customers that buy it, I hear often somebody says, you know, okay, I like this device, it's a great device. It's 5 years later, you know, I've paid it off, but shit, I don't even want to use it anymore. And they feel like sometimes they feel like I don't want to say wasted the money, but they're stuck. Where if they'd gone this route, it's like, wow, they could go the next one, and they just keep going. They just keep going. It's cool. I mean, is there any fees to get rolling, like $1,000, $500, a couple grand, something to get rolling, or?
We have a $600 processing fee. So $600 does our initial one-time processing fee, and then we ship it. We have the manufacturer do the training. Manufacturer supports the warranty. We support customer service and all of the marketing in conjunction with that manufacturer. One thing important is we work with 18 manufacturers. So any of the latest and greatest, biggest, best products out there, we work with those companies.
So regardless, so even though you're not the manufacturer, they do the deal with you. They got this great device. They get the exact same training through the manufacturer as if they bought the manufacturer. It doesn't matter. It's indifferent.
So think of it like this. A simple way, we're Costco. We buy in bulk and we get you a discount for that, and you can get it like in those bulk products. So we go get the best wine out there. We put it on pallets. You choose what you want for that price. We have that offering, and you get all the best rewards with it.
Question. I know you mentioned you got 18 manufacturers. Like, just what types of devices and brands? Like, do you have like everything? Do you have like hair removal and skin rejuvenation and fractional and, you know, body? And do you have like everything? Or like, what are some of the brands and types of modalities you have?
Yes, Louis, we cover the entire gamut of this from head to toe. We have, like I said, 18 of the largest manufacturers: Cartessa, Luminous, BTL, Venus Concept. So, and then thing oval, muscle stimulation, fat reduction, micro needling, CO2 resurfacing, IPL. The gamut goes on. We cover the entire spectrum of devices.
So there's literally, if I have a certain desire, like let's just say one of my providers went up to me an hour ago. They said, Louis, oh my God, out of all these devices, I love this combination radio frequency microneedling device. You have one of those, basically.
We would have one of them. Now, we might not have that specific manufacturer, but we have them for sure.
Got it. You know, it's interesting to me, Sean, like all the manufacturers are great, but they're very similar to me. So whether you do laser hair removal with company A, B, C, D, or fractional, as long as it's one of the top 10 brands, you're golden, you know?
When you look at it, there's really some of the names I just named off and others. It's still a small marketplace. It's a small marketplace with the manufacturers. So a lot of the big manufacturers been around for a couple of years now. They put out great products. It's a beautiful concept that MedShift brings, is we bring you the full gamut of all the different great manufacturers. We don't work with everybody, but we work with a lot of the good ones.
You know, you do a treatment like a photophacial. There's nothing really to buy. There's no consumable. Some devices have a little tip or a little something that you got to pay $40, and like close sculpting, you got to spend money and you get another one. So let's say hypothetically, you know, you had a device like that. Would I get the consumable from you or through the manufacturer?
Depending on our relationship with the manufacturer, it either could be either or. Either you buy it directly from them or you buy it from us. Typically, most of our partners, you're buying it through us, through our e-commerce store. Very simple transaction. If you need it, we have it for you.
Would you call this more of a rental or like a lease type play?
When I use the word rental, so when you think rental, you can return it. You can't, when you're committed to the payment. So you're renting the payment. So I'll put it this way. We're a subscription. The way we set up our contract, it's a subscription. Okay. It's like a cell phone bill versus a car payment. So a car payment is a lease payment. So when someone runs a report, like let's say you want to buy a house, you're buying a house, they're going to run, the mortgage company is going to run their report, and they're going to see everything that you pay for, and they're going to see that lease payment on that car that you have. What we do on a cell phone bill, our cell phone bill, you'll never see that payment. So if they run a report on you, you'll never see that cell phone payment. You'll never see our payment. So that's gives you the ability to borrow or loan more money in the
I like that. I like that. That's cool.
It's a really cool thing.
That's a nice selling point. I like that. I didn't know that. That's cool.
We are the financier, and we are the supporter of the product, and our relationships with the manufacturers allows you to get all the great benefits that the manufacturer does through our financing opportunity. And we really look at that client that really wants to get into this marketplace, that wants to have a place of resources through education, through discounts, through good financing options, people that are going to take care of them and know the marketplace. And that's us.
I know you're stepping in the world of injectables. And do you feel like a couple years down the road, you're going to be having like also every single injection in the marketplace, or the top 5 or that kind of thing? Or
we'll be able to offer a lot of the newer products that are coming to the market and provide the training and the resources that you wouldn't get unless you spent a lot of money with that manufacturer.
A lot of our customers are nurses, nurse practitioners that are starting a little practice, little, one woman, one man show, and they're just getting rolling. And there's a lot of them are starting with injections first because, you don't make a payment for 90 days and whoever Allergan carries the paper. And a lot of them want to start with just one device because they're just getting rolling, And so I get that. But then you got sometimes somebody's got an established practice or rocky and rolling. Maybe it's a family practice doctor who's making good money. He's adding aesthetics. Well, this guy or girl wants to start with 2 or 3 devices. In a scenario like that, if they're going to get going with you with 2 or 3 devices, would there be some kind of a little bit of a discount or something? Or
we're really pretty transparent in our pricing. So it's really, whether they're getting a loan for $200,000 for 2 or 3 devices or $75,000 for 1 device, we're pretty transparent in our pricing. It's straightforward. We're not adding any extra fluff or deals like that. The reality is the more they buy, the better they're going to get a deal, because the manufacturer wants to sell more of that equipment.
So when you meet somebody for the first time, they hear about your company and they say, "Shad, I got 30 seconds, man. Just tell me the difference between me buying this device from manufacturer or me doing the gig with you." What would be your pro-con comparison?
I would say this: we are not a bank. We understand aesthetics. We're going to give you bundle services in your financing with us that a bank or a leasing company won't do. We're going to check in with you 30, 60, 90, 120 days, a year, 2 years, so on. We're going to give you marketing service with an in-house marketing team to give brand awareness. And we're aesthetic people. We understand how we look at you holistically. We don't look at you as a straight number.
Just to kind of recap, so devices, obviously, injections, and the other services, can you roll those out for me? What are the other services again?
If you go through the MedShift subscription program, you will get the following. Number 1, you're going to get access to a mega portal. In that mega portal has tremendous amount of resources, videos, ads, campaigns, things like that. And because we're not the manufacturer, we could say things that the manufacturer gets limited to. So, for example, there's no device that actually is FDA approved for skin tightening. So they dance around the word skin tightening. We'll say skin tightening. Our in-house marketing team runs a brand awareness campaign on Facebook and Instagram. We run the whole program. We manage the back end to it.
So you would do that for me, the customer.
Yeah, for you as the customer to say, "Hey, I've got the new TriLift. I've got this. This is," and we'll brand it to you. We'll send it out there. We'll manage it. And then you can reuse that and post it as many times as you want. And we run it for 1 month within the first year. And then we also provide practice enhancement, things like how to do social. So we know a lot of people are new in this. So like you said, how to run social, how to do this, how to do that. So we have a lot of resources for them to do that as well, to be successful with. And that all encompasses that payment that you would make with us for that new device.
I mean, if Allergan is the 600-pound gorilla of injections, you guys are the 600-pound gorilla of no money down, let's rock and roll,
We look at, and I commend our founders to that because of this. We look at the business because we've been in the business. We see how the challenges of getting into this business, just like you have provided education and now you're providing community and you provide other things that to benefit all of your members, customers. Our founders saw the same thing when it comes to financing devices and when it comes to giving them support, not just a bank loan.
And if somebody tomorrow does a deal with you and they have questions a month or 2 later, whether it's questions on devices or marketing, would they have an assigned person, like an account manager that they talk to? Or
yeah, so we have an in-house customer care team that actually we do outbound reach out for them. So this blows my mind. I've been in the business for a long time, like you. Our team calls them at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, and then 2 years, we're checking in, just saying, how's it going? A bank doesn't do that. We got, did you get your training? Are you getting patients? Can we help you with anything? So that's a really pretty cool thing and special thing that we do.
All right. Well, this has been awesome. Great information. I think anybody who's watching this, whether they're new kid on the block or established, they're going to get it in 2 seconds when they hear this. But anything you want to add before we wrap it up, Sean, that I may have missed as far as the questions goes? Anything you want to say about your company I may not have touched base on?
First of all, I want to say thank you, Louis. I've known you for a long time, and I appreciate you, and everybody that's gone through NLI and Louology and everything that you have is awesome. But listen, go to store.medshift.com and see all the great stuff that we provide there on discounts. Look at Be Her. Go to beher.com to look at our GPO, our group purchasing for injections. And go to medshift.com to see who we are. Look us up. We look forward to helping out. If you're looking to do a device financing, we have an online app that you can just fill out your credit application in there. If you go to our site, we have all the opportunity to look at your site and ask questions. There's a chat feature and everything like that. Or you can just email or call and we'll give you a direct to our customer service. It's great seeing you, and all the best, and to everybody out there.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Talk soon. Appreciate it.